everybody. Welcome to the Mize Breakroom. I'm your host, Marc Swearengin. Today we have our shareholder, Andrew Spikes, with us. And we're going to spend a little time talking about, we have this new payroll app that I'm hearing a lot about. And so we want to talk a little bit about that and educate some people on that. So Andrew, welcome.
Thank you.
The payroll app, tell me about this kind of history, the history of payroll here at Mize and why we're doing an app.
That's a great question. The app has been on our mind for probably 15 years, really wanting to get there. And really, I think a lot of it is, it's pulled off of payroll, and right now that's the focus of the app. And if you kind of look back at the history of Mize, we've been doing payroll for, really well over 40 years for a lot of our clients.
Oh, wow.
Back in the days where we had to run to the bank to run payroll and make deposits and stuff. And it's grown substantially over the years. And for many years, we had our own homegrown payroll system that we ran, and that was a great system. With the advent of ACA and all the requirements around there, and then the continued move with states coming up with more and more requirements, especially a lot of our coastal states, we were really just overrun with the ability to continue to stay up with the programming needs of each and individual state. And so we moved over to Kronos or UKG, Workforce Ready, and they had an app with it, which we were very excited about.
Yeah.
But shortly after that move, as we kind of rolled it out, we realized it maybe didn't have the exact functionality that our client base was looking for. And so that in combination with our acquisition of some of the assets of Trust Consulting, including their onboarding and WOTC process, we realized that needed to get into an app. And so by that point in time, we realized that a custom developed app that would include that functionality, plus bring in the best of the payroll functions. Along with a lot of client requests was, my employees are going to too many places when they have to onboard to find things. We've built kind of a master app that we're calling Mize Connect, and it's to connect them to their payroll, to their onboarding, and to other benefit platforms and other vendors that the clients are looking for us to connect to.
Great. It sounds like a great extension for, I think, the value Mize brings anyway, right? Where you can have all of these things kind of centered around, all these services in the financial sector to our clients and making it easy for them. Because you were mentioning kind of listening to clients, and ease of use is something that I even hear from folks like, how many touch points do I have? And so I think you're trying to address that.
Yeah, absolutely. For many of our clients, we try to be a one-stop shop, right? Be able to handle all aspects for their business that they need. And, when we looked at that and looked at our client employees and what we're dealing with in payroll, it was kind of the idea of Mize Connect app would be that same thing. Like, hey, let's make it so the employees have a great experience. There's a lot, and I don't know all the statistics, but there's a lot of statistics out there that show a bad onboarding process for an employee means a short-lived employee. And so again, I think just trying to emphasize that, one great process that they can get through that's easy. They don't have to go download a whole bunch of different things. They don't have to go a bunch of different places. They can go through one process and then see what their employer has available to them right there in one place.
That's great. It's a big investment, right? I think Mize is taking to do this. I think, to your point, we're listening to clients, but it's a big undertaking. It's not just something. So I mean, you've been working out for a long time. So maybe the history of kind of like this process.
Yes, we've gone through several iterations over the years and abandoned a couple of them. One, cost and continuing maintenance on the systems, and a lot of that I think was around trying to deal with our old payroll system as well. But I think at this point in time, technology's come a long ways, and also the client base has grown enough where it's easier to spread some of those costs over 160,000 plus employees versus when we were a little bit smaller. It's a little more expensive per employee to be able to provide something like this.
I think it's interesting too. Obviously, a lot of our clients, right, in the QSR space anyway, they hire a lot of young people, and this is what they're living on. So I think having a really good, talk about that, about why kind of focusing on the app versus more of a web-based version.
Well, I think, again, that's kind of the trend that we're seeing, right? Ease for employees to onboard is something that's important. But we're also looking at a lot of our clients that are overwhelmed with administrative tasks. And so moving into that electronic phase of onboarding and communications. So this app will go well beyond just, hey, there's some payroll data, and hey, you went through the onboarding process. You'll be able to update employee documents as needed. If you need them to sign something new, right, you could load it in through there and track it. It will have a very robust tracking for the Affordable Care Act and who needs to be offered when, along with tracking and communications. And a slew of other things that are going to come through there. We're partnering up with a company called Info that will help for employees who need data to be able to provide their earnings and wage history to be able to get credit, to be able to get a loan. Sometimes if they just need a new apartment, they can get that right there without having to go to the employer. So I think the app is also intended to lower the burden on client involvement and administration around managing their employees.
I think that's great. That's such a good point, right? Clients have so much to do and not enough time. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but that app allows us, you mentioned, some third party, but it looks like we're adding some more things in there. So it's, again, one place for, you mentioned that. I know we have some like telehealth. So talk about like the kind of evolution, where you see this going.
So we have a couple of initial vendors that we're bringing in there, and they've been partners for quite some time. And Zayzoon is the first one. It's an earned wage access program. So basically pay on demand. A lot of other people know that. Employees work, they get hours, it gets loaded, and Zayzoon will allow them to loan against their next paycheck, basically. Then we also have Benalign, which is a benefits platform. It's kind of a non-traditional platform. Certainly there's things that the employers can participate in, such as group telehealth, which also actually includes group vet telehealth.
Wow, that's crazy. I heard about that. That's just
very interesting.
Where things are evolving.
Again, both of those, I think, without going into a lot of details, they're benefits that can help your employees address needs, whether it be with their pet or personally, health needs, address them timely, hopefully cut down on the amount of time that they're out of, they're away from work, or in some cases maybe even eliminate it. So great benefits there, but they've also got a ton of things from legal help to financial wellness programs. There's plenty of dental and other life and things that they can take advantage of as well. And those are things they can just contract directly with, so the employer doesn't necessarily need to be involved. There certainly will be options in the future for employers to decide to participate in those, but at this point in time, it's just a free offering. They also, in both cases, both Zayzoon and Benalign will offer different perks, right? Discount programs and things like that, where employees can look for things that they commonly buy, and they'll find that they can get discounts on those things.
And employees can get access through the app. Like they have one place to go. They can find what they got, what their payroll is information. They can find some of this telehealth information. So everything there is kind of
They can go look at the employee handbook that they signed a year ago, and they don't remember it.
That's great. Okay. I mean, it sounds amazing. What's the rollout? I mean, is this something that all clients will be able to utilize?
Yes. If you're on our payroll system, you will definitely be able to use it. If you just participate, you can just participate in onboarding through our WOTC program as well. But for the most part, it's going to be designed for our payroll platform and an integration there. Again, cutting down on some of the administrative burden of people. The new hires will load directly into the payroll, and we don't have to worry about as much getting new hires in there. I think it's going to be a great program that will not only benefit the employees, but also the administrative staff.
And so when someone comes on, and signs up for some services here at Mize, is this just something they get?
It is, yeah. It's something that they can. It's definitely something they can get. And the rollout, as you were asking, it is rolled out. We have a substantial number of clients on it right now. It'll be pretty much fully rolled out in phase one. And phase one just includes payroll information. Also the ability for client employees to update their payroll information should the client opt for that to happen. And then they have access to Benalign and Zayzoon. Phase two will be to include the onboarding along with some of the communication features, including ACA monitoring, tracking, offers, acceptance and declinations that can be automated with dashboards, reporting for not only back office staff, but also for managers, whether they're out in our greater QSR group where they have restaurants or other remote facilities, they'd be able to access that information there.
That's great. Well, that's exciting. I'm excited to kind of share this with more people. So if anybody has questions about that, you want to learn about this, you want to see it, certainly you can reach out to Andrew and myself, and we certainly would love to show you about this. It's been many years in the making, and we're really excited about what this is going to do for our clients.
Yes, and I believe that we'll have a series of webcasts to kind of introduce the app as we get that rolled out. So
thank you. Well, Andrew, we appreciate all you're doing here and pushing these initiatives. And so once again, thanks for joining the Breakroom.
Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Mize Breakroom. If you watch this episode on YouTube, please like and subscribe so you never miss another episode. You can find the Mize Breakroom anywhere you can find podcasts. If you like what you heard, please rate and review the podcast 5 stars. Looking for more information? You can find us on most social media platforms at Mize CPAs. Thanks for listening, and see you next time in the Breakroom. The Mize Breakroom is produced by Mize CPAs and hosted by Marc Swearengin. Mize CPAs is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice. The information shared in this podcast is for general information purposes only and is not intended to constitute legal or technical accounting, tax, consulting, and/or professional advice that may apply to your specific business. The listener is encouraged to consult counsel and/or their accountant before making decisions or taking any action concerning the matters in this communication to address the recipient's particular facts, circumstances, position, business considerations, or other unique relevant matters, as well as to evaluate any applicable federal, state, or local laws.